Amazingly, as of tonight, there aren't many platforms left that allow free speech. The last big one remaining in the world, the only one, is Twitter. Twitter has long served as the place where our national conversation incubates and develops. Twitter is not a partisan site. Everybody's allowed here, and we think that's a good thing. And yet, for the most part, the news that you see analyzed on Twitter comes from media organizations that are themselves thinly disguised propaganda outlets. You see it on cable news, you talk about it on Twitter. The result may feel like a debate, but actually the gatekeepers are still in charge. We think that's a bad system. We know exactly how it works, and we're sick of it. Starting soon, we'll be bringing a new version of the show we've been doing for the last 6.5 years to Twitter. We'll be bringing some other things too, which we'll tell you about. But for now, we're just grateful to be here. Free speech is the main right that you have. Without it, you have no others. See you soon.
Yeah, so Tucker, when this was released about an hour ago, if I saw the time correctly, and Tucker coming out to like with a new show on Twitter. Listen, one, I don't know how. I mean, didn't Twitter get in a ton of trouble for like blocking people from what they're actually saying before the Elon Musk era? Didn't they get in trouble for stuff?
They were in all sorts of. They got the Twitter files. Remember when they came out? I mean, they were in all sorts of hot water because of like election stuff and like specifically censoring, like I believe, right-sided rhetoric.
I think that's what he's saying, though. So stick to the debate here. I think that's what he's saying is it doesn't matter. It's both sides. He's not saying, I love Fox, and Fox was right, and let's go to Twitter. He's saying, I know how this works. I see it on both sides. We're starting something new.
Yeah, no, I absolutely love it. I think that's sensational. I mean, we need that so bad. I mean, one of the things that stood out to me over the last, so many years is, people in America were really getting on Russia for their state news, state media, and how the propaganda machine of you don't really know what's going on. And I kind of feel the same way about what's going on here. Like, we don't necessarily know what is really. I don't believe that what we're getting is the full truth, and he lends itself to that in this video. And Twitter is a place where you can get both sides. You get open arguments from both sides, and I think there's some skepticism that's going to go into is he really going to be fair? Because the left hates this guy, right?
Right. So I think here I was pondering this for the last 30 minutes. I hope this is what I hope. I think 5 years from now you're going to look back and be like, holy shit. Yeah. Remember what Twitter used to be? And my hope for the news segment of what he's going to build is I think Elon's going to go out and try and get some different voices, an opposite of Tucker, and they're going to start to try and build this new type of content, whether it's news, entertainment, podcasting, whatever. I think Twitter is going to try and bring a new mass of people to the platform, along with a lot of others.
Do they do that with that, is it WeChat or whatever the big one is in China that he was talking about emulating?
Yeah, something like that.
Do they do that as well?
I don't know the specifics of that app, but I know he's a big fan of that.
Yeah.
I thought based on the way he's playing WeChat, it was it does everything. It's a one-stop shop for everything you could ever want. Yeah. Listen, like I said, I'm excited to see it. I'm curious where he's going to go. I'm curious if he talks more about what happened with Fox and why it all kind of shook out the way it did.
Is he in a lawsuit there?
Probably.
If he just announced it, I don't think so.
Yeah, because it might be a little funky to talk about it if he's still in a lawsuit.
Of course. But it is. It's just, I think this is something that if it truly becomes what we hope it does, which I think that Elon certainly wants it that way, and if Tucker can seem, he seemed like a fair guy for the most of the stuff that I've heard. And based off his video there, he kind of spoke about how one of the things that kind of alluded to why he got pushed out was he went up against the wall a couple too many times and tried to, instead of push the narrative that Fox wanted him to, he was seemingly saying that he was trying to be more fair. So I'm curious to see if Twitter, which I assume Elon's going to let him kind of run, I'm curious to see what his actual takes are.
What is that Don Lemon guy? Is he very like left orient. I know he's from CNN, but he's like super left. Is he like the Tucker Carlson of that side?
No, he's not even close.
Tucker was way bigger, but it is. I'm sure. I'm curious about it. I mean, we saw the same thing, and I brought this up on the show whenever we did talk about Elon or whatever it was, or maybe we talked about Tucker. But we talked about the guy that you worked out in the same gym, that guy Cuomo's brother, because he kind of said the same. Whatever, yeah, Andrew was the governor, but he kind of said the same stuff or hinted at the same stuff. That it was like, even I had to say shit I didn't want to have to say. But this is just how it works.
Remember the Dave Chappelle speech, his bit that he did in his comedian thing, and he's like, I found out why everybody loves Donald Trump and like all the white guys in Ohio, and he's like, because he's the only person ever to walk out of the White House and say, all of the shit that you think that we're doing in there, it's exactly what we're doing in there, and then he went back in there and started doing the same shit. and he's like, that's why everybody loved him. And this is kind of the same deal. It's like we all kind of watch this stuff. We all have an idea. We all know what's going on here. But now we maybe get the other side of it. I would love to see a Don Lemon. This has always been my deal. It's like one of the guys that, like, when I first started, like, evolving and, like, listening to politics was Ben Shapiro. And I was like, damn, this guy's just freaking crushing these people, right? And over time, I was like, I'd love to see the Ben Shapiro of the other side, because Ben Shapiro provides like incredibly great arguments, but I got to imagine there's somebody on the left that could do just as good. And like that's what I would love to see in a Twitter or any news outlet, so that I can get intelligent viewpoints from both sides.
Yeah, I think most people, especially the middle, that's what they want. That's what we want. Like I said, very curious to see what Tucker comes out with. He didn't say a date, at least unless there was one in the bio, what he was talking about. Didn't say anything like that, but I think we're all pretty curious about what Tucker comes out with, and we'll talk more about this on the show coming up this week, obviously, because I'm sure now that he released it an hour ago, there will be more to come over the next 48 hours before we do our next show. So tune in for that. Drops. Did we start dropping them on Monday, TiVo, or did we start still on Friday?
We'll start this week.
We'll start this week, dropping it on Monday. We'll record that on Thursday, so looking forward to that.